My family found out that I had a baby 3 months ago, and Christmas is kind of ruined. I was born out of wedlock, which was such a big deal to my father's family that it resulted in them barely acknowledging I existed. My grandmother refused to hold me as a baby. My grandfather told my mother at a family gathering when I was 5 that I was evidence of her sin. My dad's siblings would introduce their kids to each other at family events, but never introduced me. I'd sit at the kids' table, and no one would talk to me. My dad has 3 other children with his wife. They had a real family. I was the mistake he made before he got his life together. My dad has a brother who I am close to. He was the only one in the family who had any part in my life. I never really saw my dad, but my uncle always had time for me. Even after he got married and had kids of his own, I was never made to feel like I didn't matter to him. He came to my high school and college graduations. My dad came to neither. He helped pay for my mom's funeral when I was 21, and she died suddenly from an aneurysm. My dad didn't come to her funeral, said it would be awkward for his wife. My uncle walked me down the aisle at my wedding last year. He's more of a father to me than my bio dad ever was, so naturally he and my aunt were the only people in my father's family I told about my pregnancy. My wedding was small, 40 people. I invited my dad and his family out of obligation. They came, but my dad's wife told me my dress was a bit much for a casual backyard wedding. My half-sister asked if we were having a real reception, or if this was it. My dad left before we cut the cake. After that, I decided I was done trying. So when I found out I was pregnant 6 months later, I only told my uncle and aunt. I asked him not to share the news because I didn't want them to rain on my parade. I'm 23, and given how judgmental they were about my wedding, I knew they'd berate me for being pregnant young. Probably would have implied I was repeating my mother's mistakes. I thought I might tell them eventually, but it was nice preparing to be a mom without other people breathing down my neck. Then I ended up going into labor at 34 weeks. My daughter was born at 4 pounds 7 ounces and had to be in the NICU immediately. She had trouble breathing on her own. They put her on a ventilator. I was terrified she wouldn't make it. My uncle came to the hospital every day. He'd sit with me when my husband had to go to work. He brought me food. He prayed with me, even though I'm not religious. My dad never called. My daughter spent 6 weeks in the NICU. 6 weeks of me sitting next to an incubator wondering if she'd be okay. 6 weeks of watching monitors and holding my breath every time an alarm went off. She came home 3 weeks ago. She's doing great now, eating well, gaining weight, sleeping in her bassinet next to our bed. But those 6 weeks broke something in me. Between my baby being in the NICU and dealing with postpartum depression, I just didn't tell my dad's family. They weren't there when I needed them. So why would I share this with them now? Then my husband's mom made a celebratory post about her arrival. She was so excited to finally share photos of her first grandchild. She tagged me and my husband. One of my father's relatives saw it within hours. To say that my phone has been blowing up would be an understatement. I've had people who haven't spoken to me since I was 12 call me to criticize me for not telling my dad that he's a grandpa. My dad's wife called me and said, "How dare you keep this from your father? Do you have any idea how humiliated he is that he found out on Facebook? His coworkers are asking him about his granddaughter, and he didn't even know she existed." My half-brother, who I haven't spoken to in 5 years, texted me, "This is really low, even for you. Dad's been crying all day." My grandmother, who refused to hold me as a baby, called and told me I was cruel and vindictive for hiding my daughter from the family. Then my dad finally called, not to ask how I was, not to ask about his granddaughter, not to apologize for missing my entire life. He said, "You've really done it this time? You've made me look like a terrible father in front of everyone. My wife is upset, my kids are upset. You've ruined Christmas for all of us." I asked him if he even wanted to meet her. He said, "That's not the point. The point is, you should have told me." I'm being accused of ruining my father's Christmas by withholding this news. I'm being called heartless, selfish, inconsiderate.